Which job is a lot less fun than most people expect? Preschool teacher. Especially with new COVID-19 regulations. Ever try social distancing 3-year-olds? Oh my gosh. Build a bear. Weirdest and most frustrating thing. Granted, I didn't make it a super long time in the job and seeing kids so happy is great. But they are really strict and the bad times get pretty bad. I imagine that store is just parents with sticker shock trying to talk their kids into cheaper options. You go in to do the little $35 bear. And walk out $150 later with a bear in a full tuxedo with a skateboard and a construction helmet. I'm a forensic scientist and it's literally the only thing people ask me about on dating apps. It's very technical work and it's extremely routine. Barnes & Noble. Your job has literally nothing to do with books and it obviously attracts a lot of that type. Park ranger. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. But a lot of days it was less talk about cool animals while wearing your ranger hat and more the toilets are overflowing again. Go clean the septic tank filter and stir the tank with a shovel. With a little bit of hey, there's a methed out guy down by the bridge. Can you convince him to leave without killing anyone? All for the low price of $26k a year with a college degree. Edit so more people will see this. I hate the idea that this comment might dissuade anybody from becoming a park ranger. These jobs are so varied. And I just happen to work for an underfunded agency with too few staff. Honestly, I still love this job and would have kept doing it forever if a higher paying outdoor environmental job hadn't pretty much fallen into my lap. Being a park ranger taught me so much. And most importantly, I got trained as a wildland firefighter. Which is still my favorite part of my job. If you've always dreamed of being a park ranger, please go for it. I do closed captioning. While I joke that yes, I get paid to watch TV, it's actually very tedious. And if you don't actually enjoy the programming, you're being forced to watch something you don't care for. Or worse, if it's something I do enjoy like a long form drama, we usually chop those up into 15-minute increments and split between everyone, so I only see chunks and not always even in order. It actually ruins the show for me. Edit. Whoa. For a thread about my job not being fun. Did not expect the response for interested parties. To summarize the questions. Anyone who knows proper grammar and spelling can pretty much work the technical side of closed captioning. For live writing you have to be a stenographer, which you need to train for with an associate's degree. If you're looking to do side transcription work, I'd recommend ordering a foot pedal online and looking into freelance sites such as Rev and Upwork. Working in a flower shop. It's just like any other retail job. But people constantly tell you how fun your job must be. Also, helping grieving families choose funeral flowers is not fun. I'm a marine biologist. I spent the last week measuring defrosted fish heads. Well, I'm a scientist. I don't know if people usually think of that career as fun. But I think people think it's a lot more eureka. And a lot less this data has to be manually processed for 600 hours before I can analyze it. Not a specific job, but traveling for work. I'm in tech and a lot of people starting out talk about wanting to go to customer sites and get out in the field. I love to travel for fun, but it's hard to fit in the fun stuff when you have presentations and stuff to worry about, and a lot of times your customers aren't in the fun cities anyway. I also think I prefer the stability and day-to-day schedule of traveling less frequently. TV film production. I think most people dream of being the actor, the director, the people making the creative decisions, or the big shot producer calling the shots. But most of the people working in TV and film production are part of a machine. The grind. Working in a system. Trying to climb up to wherever they want to be. Many don't get to actualize their creative vision. Also, the industry can be project-based, job security concerns, and location limited, and voila. Maybe other cities. Pay can be low starting out too. Though it can be good if you work way up. But I did enjoy the type of people that work these jobs. A little more fun than the business folk I work with now. Edit. Just want to note I have a lot of respect for the TV film industry. I would go back to it. But I would be careful about what the job and career path was. A pediatric nurse. Being a nurse for children and adolescents. Everyone in nursing school talks about how much they want to work with kids. The reality is that a pediatric nurse sees more cases of abuse and neglect than any other specialty. Doesn't matter where you are in a pediatric hospital. It's the thing you see most. I've seen so many DCS, Department of Child Services, caseworkers that I've gotten to know some of them and became acquaintances with them. Sure, working with children and adolescents is great. But people don't think about the most essential piece of that puzzle, which is their families. It doesn't matter how good of care you give to those kids. If you don't loop the parents into that care, you may as well just not be doing anything for them. Video editor. The more I do it, the more I can't be asked. Although not necessarily bad. Beekeeping. Get used to the constant sound of buzzing during hive inspections, swarm removals, plus wearing the protective suit in hot ass weather for hours on end, give or take the situation. Also, there appears to be a large number of beekeepers allergic to bees, so EpiPens are a must. Why on earth would someone who's allergic to bee stings go into beekeeping? That seems a not very intelligent decision. I always say the more fun it is to go somewhere, the worse it is to work there, like amusement parks and arcades. Baker. Coming into work at 3/4 am so you can have a 6 am baked goods is miserable. 00000HY0 you must L0 veti way use WHNG0H0 me. Nope. Demolition. Everyone wants to break shit with a sledgehammer. Everyone is tired of lifting that sledgehammer by 5 swings. Nobody wants to load the broken stuff into bags or a wheelbarrow and take it to the dumpster. Video game testing. I've been working in the game industry for 6 years now. And teaching for 2. Testing video games is thought to be just how you just play games all day. Lol, but it's actually very specific and arduous. First of all, there are a bunch of testing methodologies such as load soak testing, white room testing, version testing, to name a few. But the most common one is functionality testing. Functionality testing is so if I walk into that corner with the shotgun in my inventory, I can clip through the wall. But if I have my M16 in my inventory, I don't clip through. Paleontologist. You don't get to work with full dinosaur skeletons and do all kinds of awesome expeditions. You're mostly sitting at a desk looking at some pictures and logging stuff on your computer. Maybe examining a fossil occasionally. If you're lucky, you can go on a real dig. And OMG spend hours in the hot sun dusting off rocks. Acting. All the ones we see on TV and movies are the 0.0001% of incredibly lucky and talented people who managed to thrive in a hostile and overcrowded industry. And even when you are working, the actual job itself is 99% sitting on apple crate in hot makeup waiting for some grips to move a lighting fixture. Then you say 3 lines over and over again for an hour. And then you rap. Flight attendant. 1. You are on call, on reserve, forever. Have a terrible schedule. Have no life. And make no money for 5-10 years. 2. While you work for peanuts, you can't afford to use your flight benefits in any substantial way. 3. Then, when you finally get a chance to use your benefits for a trip, you have to fly standby, which means you aren't guaranteed to get on the flight you want. 4. Then, if you do make it out of town, you better have like a week off so you can make damn sure you're back in your base city in time for your next work shift. 5. Did I mention there is an act of US legislation, Railway Labor Act, that allows airlines to exploit so you don't get paid for certain work hours that you actually need to be working? For example, FAs don't get paid for boarding. Or any time the plane is at the gate. Worst job ever. Edit. Typos and clarity. Accountant. Everyone thinks it's all fun and number crunching. But the constant stream of women throwing their panties and wanting to bear your children is honestly exhausting. Working in a music store, musical instruments. Your days are spent listening to 50 different people play 50 different riffs poorly simultaneously. As if they're all putting on their own concert. Being a writer. I always thought it was my absolute dream job. But the only job I could get after college was working in a content mill as a blog writer. I used to work 70-hour weeks staring at the computer in a basement of an old bank writing bullshitty articles about the dangers of mold, fence cleaning, and why you need a commercial awning, and the dream turned into a nightmare. While I still write occasionally, I am now working as a communications person, so it is a bit less heavy. Trimming weed. IDKY people think working with weed is like working in the Willy Wonka factory. It's not. You literally get to make tiny cuts with sticky scissors for 8 hours. I have seen this question before, and then it was Zookeeper at the top comment too. Nice. Anyways. There's this making a Frozen 2 mini doku. Most animators work weeks for a minute of animation of one character. If not less. At one point they decided to leave out a piece that one person had solely been working on. Must be crappy to be part of the credits without being able to say this is my part. Full stop. Flight attendant. I did it for a year. Think you're going to have a week-long layover in Paris? Guess again. You're working the red eye to Detroit. Don't get too excited yet. You're laying over in Cleveland tomorrow. Couple that with the job being boring AF. You just sit around for hours at a time on the flights. And it certainly is much less exciting than you would think it would be. Working at a Charles Dickens fair is interesting, but not incredibly fun. It is hard to stay in character. And people get so mad when they see the Alice in Wonderland area. Yeah. We know it's not Charles Dickens. But we can't have a kids play area in the world of Oliver Twist. Okay. Lol, the kids play area is a coal factory. Seeing all this makes me feel like I don't want to have a job. But instead live off fish. As in catching and eating. It's my favorite thing to do. Archaeologist. Did it during my 20s and that was more than enough. Long, hot days. Living out of cheap motels on Shtipe. And you typically find nothing more than some pieces of glass and broken pottery. Every once in a blue moon you find something cool. But those items generally end up getting stored away in a box full of other artifacts never to be seen again. Lawyer. No, it isn't like they show on TV. Hey. Finally cases before the judge. Crap, the other party didn't show up. Next date that judge has given is 3 months away. Edit. Need to say a few things. 1. Thank you fellow redditors for the gold and silver. Now I can finally see what a lounge is all about. Now. Little bit about me. I am from India and have moved on from litigation to academia. Personally it was the right decision for me, as now I am way less stressed and can work on things that intellectually stimulate me. Having said that, I need to clarify that law is still a very rewarding profession. There is something in it for everyone. For those who want to change the world as well as for those who want to make money. It just demands too much of your time, plus the results of all your efforts are not immediate and that can get stressful. Also, yes, that song Don't Be a Lawyer by Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is pretty spot on. Being a paramedic. If you work somewhere like Chicago, Nick or LA, yeah, you get stabbings and shootings, other varieties of murder on the regular. Most places the bulk of call volume is patients that don't feel well. The adrenaline-filled blood, guts and glory calls are far less likely than the media would imply. Honest, most real answer. Any job, every job. Until you've done it. You only have an idealized version of it in your head. Being a chef. All the flair and awesomeness they show on Vice and Netflix is far from what actually happens in the industry. It's not all fancy plates and tattooed cool-haired guys doing their thing. It's a drug-infested, law-breaking work environment that only benefits the owners of a restaurant. Edit. Thank you for the love and good reads, people. I have some insane stories I'll share someday. For those asking, I am a sous chef at Michelin level restaurants nowadays. Not a chef de cuisine yet. Edit 2. You guys are insane. I once had a server approach my table and asked where I work because he noticed the scars on my arm. Librarian. It's not all books and being quiet. There are also spreadsheets. Cybersecurity. Bro. The movies do us no justice. Hacking is not as fast nor is it as easy as the media makes it. It's a great field but you spend a lot of time researching or watching paint dry. Especially in the gov side. Edit. I'll never be able to answer all of your questions. I'll answer some PMS as I get a chance. Edit 2. No more questions about the field. Getting spammed. I'll take things that involve customers for $800. Alex. Bar bouncer. Hours of tension and boredom interrupted by moments of adrenaline fueled fear for your life. Then some arsehole pukes cheap booze on your shoes. Edit. I was 19 when I started. And I thought I would be getting paid to meet lots of girls and listen to live music. Which I did. I also had knives pulled on me. Endured threats on my life. Got my nose broken, not even in a fight, and stood around and did nothing most of the time. You don't get to relax. Though. Because you're constantly looking for trouble. Awful job. I write adult fan fiction as a side hustle. After a certain point it's just like writing a paper. Zookeeper. Don't get me wrong. It's awesome to be around so many amazing animals and care for them. But the smells are ridiculously, insanely foul. I have a really strong stomach and it's still tough for me. We've had some interns quit over it. I was warned about the smells when getting into the field. But thought I volunteered at animal shelters. I know what animal stink smells like. Nope. Not even close. Managing a dog hotel. Breaking up dog fights. Dogs shitting in the lobby and the occasional awful owners. Edit. Thanks for all the upvotes. Video game tester. You aren't spending your time playing completed fully realized games. You are playing the same level of a game over and over seeing if there are bugs. Pilot. You could lose your career with a single illness or injury. Which could be happening to me soon. After reading through this thread for 20 minutes I've concluded that every job sucks. Teacher. Summer's off. Cool. Week for Thanksgiving. Cool. 2 weeks for Christmas. Cool. Entitled parents. Shti. School district and administration wanting you to do 2 different things. Shti. The kids sigh okay. I love the kids so much. But they absolutely break your heart 100% of the time. There are assholes. Sure. Those aren't the ones who break your heart. It's those kids you can't help. Whether it's from a shitty home life, bullying, or they just aren't smart. It's those kids who you go above and beyond for. But at the end of the day, you can't be there for them all the time. Gamma Master at an escape room. It's the same repetitive script. Resetting the same stuff. Giving clues and hints about the same things. The patrons are often competitive families who argue. Obnoxious impatient 13-year-olds. College students who have been drinking. Idiots who break tea and touch tea that I specifically told them not to. They never remember your initial instructions. If something gets broken during one group, you have to hurry and fix it before the next group. Working at an amusement park. Accounting isn't the adrenaline rush that most people think it is. Scientist. I promise you. Most of the time it isn't anything like the cool lab scenes in the movies. It's slow and frustrating 99% of the time. I still love it though. Not an and all. For me, it was working in horse breeding. I recently got laid off and took a job in horse breeding. It's awful. It's disgusting. It smells. Hands covered in stallion smegma by the end of the day. Ugh. When I think fun job I can say pretty confidently that horse breeder has never come to mind. Unless you're doing it the way Steve-O did. I see no excitement in that profession. Working in a library. No. You do not get time to read the books. As a page. Every day was monotonous as FCK. Reshelving every single item. Once you're done. Reshelf some more. Casino dealer croupier. That's the place where the worst humans come to do their business. Video game tester. You'd think getting paid to play games would be fun, but picture playing the same, broken, game 8 hours a day. Every day. For 6 months to a year. Add in some overtime and some weekends around certification time and you have yourself not only a recipe for depression, but also a brand new reason to lose some of your love for video games. Architecture. Architects are assholes. Chemistry in any industrial research lab. Very little mixing colorful solutions in Erlenmeyer flasks and a whole lot of Osh tea. Someone didn't document this correctly 3 months ago. Go fill out paperwork for the next 4 days, and I prepped these samples for 2 days and found out on day 3 that they were contaminated. It might have been me. It might not have been me. Try again because you have no time to investigate. Farming. At least in my experience, it's a rough and thankless way to make a living with no days off and no management to cry to when there's a problem. My dad is in the hospital and isn't going well. Can I take a couple days off? The plants. Also, everyone thinks you have the cushiest job ever. Everything is automated now. Isn't it? You get tons of bailouts and subsidies and whatnot. Right? You get 3 months in winter off. Right? 1. Maybe out west where they're growing 1 billion acres of corn in one field, so the robot tractors can't really get confused and such a machine would actually pay for itself. 2. Only if you're in Iowa growing ethanol corn. 3. It's 3 months of building and equipment maintenance with no pay. It's the exact opposite of a paid vacation, but it goes for months. No, we don't go to Hawaii.